I've been thinking about something all week as we've been writing together, writing in our journals, that we are literally writing our lives every single day. Whether we pick up a pen or a pencil or move our fingers on the keyboard or not, our story is being written right now. I am so grateful that you're joining us here for our 5th day and final day of this series of trusting our journey as we age joyfully together. Thank you so much for watching. We are writing our lives not just with words, but with the attention that we give things. Every yes that we say, every no that we offer, every choice that we make, the actions we take, the actions we don't take. And most importantly, those things that we focus on, that we pay attention to, whether they are the little tiny infinitesimal things that happen outside in nature. We hear a bird call, we notice a leaf on a tree falling to the ground. Those simple things are what shape us, and they help us to become who we are becoming, whether that's for better or for the worse. Today, we're going to focus on that, where we place our attention and how to tease out the life that we really want to live and create and pay attention to and share with others. So let's take a moment, or 2 or 3 moments at a time, to do our journaling, to reflect, and to go deeper perhaps than we would if we didn't journal at all. This is where we start to notice those areas in life where maybe we shouldn't have spent so much energy on. Sometimes I think I have wasted too much of my mental real estate on that. I'm going through one of those right now, actually. Before we get to our writing prompts, be sure to set your timer for the amount that I suggest. The first warm-up is 2 to 3 minutes, and then the latter prompts are 4 to 5 minutes. You get to choose. It's up to you. Let's start our warm-up with this prompt so that we can focus on letting go of where we don't want to focus our time. So here it is, very simple. Lately, I've been giving too much attention to. Lately, I've been given too much attention to. Let's take a couple deep breaths and then begin to write to that prompt. Breathe in and let it go. Breathe in. Lately, I've been giving too much attention to, and let go. Last breath. Lately, I've been giving too much attention to, let it go, and begin to write for 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll come back together. You've got this. Now that you've gotten through that section, I would love to know in the comments what you want to let go of. Make that comment. What do you want to spend less attention to? Because you spent too much time there now. The good partner prompt for you to use later today or tomorrow morning is, what deserves my attention now is, what deserves my attention now is. That is actually a great writing prompt to start with first thing in the morning. In a future video, we will talk about different types of journaling to use at different times of day. We often think that our future is made in big decisions and mountaintop moments, but that's not the truth. In fact, if you ask children or now adults about their memories as children, you might expect them to talk about those trips to Disneyland or the big events, the vacations, the anniversary parties, the big arguments. Chances are most often what they'll remember is sitting around the breakfast table, laughing. My family remembers, the family I grew up with, remembers knock-knock jokes. I know that might sound strange, but it was something that we did as a family together, and we had a good time. So your writing and your life moments won't be those big trips to Europe. I mean, there will be, that's not like those aren't worth anything, but where you pay attention in your everyday life, the way you treat each other, the words and phrases that you use. I have said to my daughter, Emma, I said to her, I bet in my funeral, you are going to mention how bad I am at sending voice texts. I'm terrible. I don't know how she translates them, but they're amusing. And I just feel like that's a tiny yet big thing. Sometimes people will say, oh, I journal on vacations, or I journal when I'm going through a really hard time. And the rest of my life, I just don't feel the need to journal. Well, this is unfortunate because as we learned on, I think it was on day 2 or day 3, that we talked about Augustine Washington, George Washington's father, taking very copious notes about that home that they lived in when George was a little boy. We need to remember to pay attention to those little things, to those favorite meals that we shared when we were on lockdown and COVID, because it's different than we did here in 2026. That's gone. But now we're still pretty close. We can remember that. We can capture some of those memories we've left behind. And most importantly, we can also capture the moments right in the present. One of the journaling exercises that I like to use, and we talked about it also earlier in the week, about Billy Collins' exercise, or something that I do, that is called What I Did Yesterday Was. I have modified this in several different versions, several different iterations. One of the exercises I do is called Mining for Content Gold. And I literally write a list of things about what I saw yesterday, what I smelled yesterday, what I felt yesterday. So it gets into specific sensory details. What I heard yesterday, something that spoke to me yesterday, a quote I heard yesterday. Now, I don't always remember all these details, even the very next day, but it does double duty because it helps me to be conscious, more conscious as I'm living in the present moment. If you're interested in finding out about mining for content gold, that journaling process, put that in the comments. I have an old version of it, I think in a PDF. If not, I can make you a PDF really easily, and you can experiment working with that. It made a big difference as a content creator, but also as someone who's working to live in the present moment and practice writing well. This next section is going to include a prompt and then an assignment, something to think about that you might want to write to later. It is about paying attention and appreciating what choices we're making today and in the future, kind of casting forward into 2026, the rest of 2026. That's when this is being recorded, and into early 2027. It just so happens that I made this recording right in the middle of the year, which is a perfect time to reflect and then reset and keep living. I want to say that as you are writing, stream of consciousness style, I want you to be open to more than one story. So it could be the stories I'm telling, but just start with story. And as you write, another story may appear, write that story. Another story may appear, jot a line, jot a fragment, jot a phrase. Okay, so here we go. So let's breathe that question in. Make sure your timer is set for 4 or 5 minutes, whichever you choose. Let's take a nice deep breath. The story I want to tell in this season of my life is, breathe in and exhale. The story I want to tell in this season of my life is, final deep inhale before you begin to write, unless you have already, and that's fine. The story I want to tell in this season of my life is, I'll be waiting for you when you finish writing. So how did that go? Were there any phrases or sentences that are most resonant with you, or that touched you in a certain way that surprised you? Put those in the comments. I would love to know. It's always helpful for me to know how prompts work for certain people, because usually I get a wide variety of answers. And if you do not want to put that in the comments because maybe you're a bit shy or reticent, feel free to text me, juliejs@creativelifemidwife.com. The second half of that prompt is, in this season of our life, the stories we want to tell, it's good to know those. And one of the ways to bring those more into a real sort of form so that we can begin to step into those stories is to write a thank you note from your future self to your present self. So now that you know the story that you want to tell, write that thank you note saying, "Dear Julie," or "Dear self," or "Julie, you're amazing." I actually do write usually, "Julie, you did such a great job," or whatever. I actually write it to myself as if I wasn't myself. I actually do some of my nighttime journaling. I write to Julianne, which is my name. My name is Julie. My middle name's Anne, my given middle name. And I write to Julianne, one long name. I tried to take the name Julianne when I was in 7th grade. I felt uncomfortable though and weird because I thought that other people thought I was weird. So I dropped that. But that 13-year-old me was pretty smart. So write a thank you note. It's easy to write letters, usually. It doesn't have to be formal. Just, again, let the pencil flow across the page. Something like, Dear Julie, thank you so much for making the choice to journal with your friends. That was so much fun. That first session really opened you up and took away your fear. I mean, a 25-year-long journaling experience, yet never shown on YouTube really until now. That's incredible. You overcame your fears and you did it. Now, granted, that's already happened. But then to go from there to, hey, Julie, I am so thankful that you continued the process. You didn't say one and done. You said, let's keep going. And you did it. I'm so proud of you. And then when you got closer to the fall and you were carefully tucked away in your new home, you made so many friends. I loved how you went to Manhattan in New York City, even though you lived in South Jersey now. But it became even more expansive when you started to host live writing sessions in your new town, and you kept doing online things as well. You could have given up. Sometimes when you make big transitions, it's really hard, and you did not give up. And your health. You had that surgery in July. That was also scary. But you kept on keeping on. You did your walking, you started rebounding, you did strength training, you kept a smile on your face, and that determination is what carried you through. There were times when you weren't so determined, Julie, but now, wow, check you out. All right, I went kind of overboard with that letter, but I wanted you to understand how it works. If you have those goals set up and then you look to the finish line and write as if you were at the finish line, it does make a difference. Are you seeing how everything is a choice? All of our stories start with a choice to do this rather than that, a choice to take this path rather than that path, a choice to drink this kind of coffee instead of another cup of coffee. All right, that might not have as much impact, but the fact that I drink cinnamon, I chose to put cinnamon in my coffee, 40 years ago, literally has changed how I travel. I always bring my cinnamon with me, just in case. Are you ready for our final prompt of the day? Start with a nice deep breath in. Today, I choose. Have you set your timer? Be sure to set your timer. Breathe in. Today, I choose, and exhale. Final breath for this session. Deep one. Breathe in. Today, I choose. Begin to write, and I will, as usual, be waiting when you return. Attention is one of the purest forms of love. And one of those foundations for what we pay attention to. We have returned to that several times during this journaling session. Our attention is actually created in the choices we make in the present moment. So your final prompt is super easy. It is, today I choose. Today I choose. Today I choose. Let's breathe into it. Start with a nice deep breath in. Today I choose. Have you set your timer? Be sure to set your timer. Breathe in. Today I choose, and exhale. Final breath for this session. Deep one. Breathe in. Today I choose. Begin to write, and I will, as usual, be waiting when you return. We did it. Congratulations. We made it through all of these journaling sessions, and hopefully you've discovered and uncovered some things about yourself. One of the pieces I would really love for you to walk away with is the fact that every choice you make, you are writing your life story. Not necessarily with your pen and paper, though hopefully from these journaling moments we've had, you'll be more willing to go more deeply. Attention is the purest form of love. Please pay attention to your writing notes, journaling, even if it's just 1 or 2 sentences a day to start. As you make that time and pay attention, things will shift. Not all at once, not a huge volcanic burst of ahas constantly. And if you stick with it, I'm pretty willing to guarantee that you will notice a difference both in your writing and in how you choose to live your life. Thanks so much for giving me the honor of time, this time of writing and journaling and exploring with you. As usual, I'm going to close out with a couple of bloopers from today's video. Also a chance to subscribe and watch other videos because I really enjoy spending this time with you. And I hope that we can continue this relationship further down the road as well. Thanks so much. And I'll catch you in the bloopers and on the next video. Oh man, I make so many mistakes. This is so easy. Why do I make so many mistakes? Lately, I've been giving. Let's try that again. So let's begin to focus on, okay, we're gonna drink some coffee so I'll know. This next section is going to